Today, the topic of our presentation is going to be women's health.
今日題目係同大家分享婦女健康。
A very important topic because I consider woman as the doctor of the house.
呢個係一個非常之重要嘅題目，因為咧，我會覺得婦女其實就係家庭裡面嘅醫生。
If the doctor of the house is sick, what's going to happen to the rest of the family?
如果屋企裡面嘅醫生病咗，咁整個家庭會變成點呢？
So let's see what can we do to prevent diseases that are common among women.
我哋睇下點樣可以預防一啲婦女常患嘅疾病啊。
First, we go over the diseases about middle-aged and old-age women.
首先，我哋睇下中年同埋年長嘅女士常有嘅係乜嘢疾病先。
Such as breast and colon cancer, high cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, menopause, osteoporosis, and then heart disease and stroke.
呢啲包括係乳癌啦、結腸癌、直腸癌、高膽固醇、高血壓、糖尿病、更年期、骨質疏鬆、心臟病同埋中風等。
And then we go over diseases that are common to young age women.
跟住我哋就睇下年輕嘅女士又會患邊一類嘅疾病。
Breast cancer again, then obesity, premenstrual syndrome or PMS, urinary infections, insomnia, and depression.
包括有乳癌啦、肥胖、月經前嘅綜合症、尿道炎、失眠同埋抑鬱等。
Starting with cancer, we have to talk about the prevention that we call checkups.
嗱，如果講到癌症嘅話咧，我哋就好強調咧呢一個嘅預防性嘅檢查。
There are 5 tests that women should do in order to prevent cancer.
有5個測試女士要常做去預防呢一個癌症。
The first one is the Pap smear test that should be used to prevent cervical cancer.
首先就係呢個柏氏抹片啦，佢咧就會睇到咧呢個係咪有子宮頸癌嘅問題。
The other 2 are the breast self-examination and the mammogram to prevent breast cancer.
而另外2個測試咧，主要都係睇下乳房裡面有冇腫瘤嘅，咁就包括自我嘅乳房檢查同埋 X 光照片。
It is important for the woman to go to the doctor and learn how to examine their own breasts.
而女士咧應該去到醫生嗰度，醫生會教佢哋點樣去做一個自我乳房檢查。
The other test is occult blood in the stools in order to prevent colon cancer.
其次咧就係大便裡面咧睇下有冇一啲嘅隱藏嘅血，而我哋可以咧鑑定出早期嘅呢一個嘅結腸癌㗎。
And then we have the cancer markers.
跟住仲有咧係呢個腫瘤嘅指標添。
If a woman has a history of cancer in the family, according to the type of cancer, she should check the markers corresponding.
嗱，如果喺家族歷史裏面佢哋有患某一類嘅癌症嘅歷史嘅話咧，佢哋就應該咧係根據翻嗰種嘅癌症 check 咧佢嘅腫瘤指標嘅。
Like the CA125 for ovary, CA15.3 for breast, CA72.4 to stomach, ovary, and colon, CAA colorectal cancer, and AEFP alpha for liver cancer.
嗱，呢個包括咧就係 CA125係卵巢癌嘅 ，CA15.3就係乳癌啦，而 CA72.4咧就係胃癌、卵巢癌同埋結腸癌，而 CEA 咧就係呢個結腸同埋直腸癌，最後咧就係呢一個嘅胎夾球嘅蛋白，呢個咧就係 AFP， 亦都係咧 check 呢一個嘅肝癌㗎。
So of course, it's important for the woman to ask the doctor to do such tests.
所以咧，我哋都可以要求咧醫生係為我哋去做呢一個腫瘤指標測試。
So the main cancer in women, or the most common cancer in women, is breast cancer.
嗱，而最普遍嘅喺女士發生嘅癌症咧就係乳癌啦。
The first factor on breast cancer is female hormones, mostly the ones that used for menopause and contraceptives.
嗱，咁咧一般嚟講咧就係同呢一個嘅荷爾蒙有關嘅，特別係更年期之後佢哋用荷爾蒙啦，或者係啲避孕藥。
Overweight women also have higher risk of this disease.
嗱，如果佢係超重嘅話咧，佢患上呢個乳癌嘅機會亦都增加。
And there is some evidence that fat intake might increase the risk of this disease.
嗱，如果佢係食太多嘅脂肪嘅食物咧，佢亦都會增加患乳癌嘅機會。
Even though the issue is very controversial, I would advise women both to lose weight and use a low-fat diet.
嗱，雖然仲係有爭議性，但係我仍然都會建議咧，係大家係食低脂肪嘅食物，同埋咧盡量 keep 翻自己嘅體重。
Another factor is sedentarism or lack of exercise.
另外咧就係一啲成日都坐喺度唔喐，例如係唔做運動嘅人。
And another factor is alcohol.
跟住咧就係酒精啦。
So it looks like even very small amount of alcohol will affect the risk of breast cancer.
嗱，呢度可以睇得到，就算係好少量嘅酒精，亦都會係增加患乳癌嘅機會。
We advise that women should do what we call self-breast examination.
我哋建議咧，婦女要做自我乳房檢查，
This is very important for the prevention of breast cancer.
因為呢個好重要嘅，要預防乳癌。
So we advise women to use their fingers in this part of the fingers
佢哋要用手指呢個部分，
and then go into the breast in a circular movement, try to feel the surface and feel the tissues in the breast.
然後咧佢哋就會喺乳房嗰度打圈，去感覺一下咧乳房嘅表面同埋肌肉層。
Also, they should go under the armpit and feel the tissues there too.
而亦都要咧係檢查一下個胳肋底。
If they get used to do that, they will notice when a small lump or a small nodule appears to the place.
所以如果佢哋習慣咗做嘅話咧，當一個小小嘅硬塊出現，佢哋會即刻發現。
So we advise that women should do that at least once a month.
我哋建議女士起碼一個月會做一次呢個檢查。
But the most important issues here is a diet low in fruits and vegetables and the habit of smoking.
嗱，而最重要嘅因素咧，卻係蔬果係食得唔足夠，同埋咧吸煙。
And I have to talk about smoking because it looks like in the whole world, men is smoking less and women is smoking more.
嗱，依家嘅問題好似喺全球性嚟講，都係越嚟越多嘅女士開始食煙，而咧男士咧反而食少咗煙嘅。
The second type of cancer in women is colon cancer.
嗱，第二種呢個女士常患嘅癌症咧就係結腸癌啦。
Now, this cancer is related to lack of fiber in the diet.
呢個咧就係同我哋飲食嘅纖維唔夠而有關嘅，
Especially low fruits and vegetables and whole grains,
特別係食五穀類唔足夠啦，同埋咧唔夠蔬果。
and to a high fat diet,
其次就係食得太肥膩啦，
mostly fat that comes from animal foods.
特別係由呢個動物性嚟嘅脂肪添。
Smoking and alcohol intake also are related to the cancer.
而酒精飲酒同埋食煙咧，亦都係同結腸癌有關。
And lack of exercise is another factor.
呢度睇到啦，又係一啲唔中意運動、時時坐喺度嘅生活方式。
There is one study that mentioned that water intake, 6 to 8 cups of water per day, decrease the risk of colon cancer.
而咧，其中有一個研究就發現，如果每日能夠飲6至到8杯水嘅話咧，能夠減低患結腸癌嘅機會。
And the reason for that is almost the same reason for fiber. When you eat fiber, when you drink more water, you have a better bowel movement.
嗱，其實佢嘅原理咧就係同呢個纖維質係一齊相輔相成，因為當你食纖維質飲足夠嘅水嘅時候咧，咁佢咧就係可以幫助呢個腸道嘅蠕動㗎。
And then you have less time for the cancer agents that are in the food or in the water or in the environment to be in contact with the body.
因為當你啲大便排得好嘅時候，呢一啲嘅對於腸道有刺激嘅物體，無論係由食物啦、水分或者係環境而嚟嘅咧，都會減少同呢個腸接觸嘅機會。
In Germany, just as an illustration, the vegetarian people have 50% less incidence of colorectal cancer.
嗱，就喺德國嚟講啊，佢哋發現咧，成人嘅素食者佢哋患結腸癌嘅機會係一般人咧係減低50%。
Colon cancer also happens between the families.
嗱，而結腸癌咧，通常咧亦都有家族性嘅喎。
So if you have a family member with colon cancer, you better check yourself and change your lifestyle, mostly your diet.
所以如果有一個人喺你屋企裏面係患上結腸癌嘅話咧，你最好改變你嘅生活方式、飲食方式。
So what you have to do against cancer is to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables.
嗱，我哋可以做乜嘢咧？就係要多食蔬菜同埋水果。
Stop drinking alcohol, stop smoking, and be aware of second-hand smoking too.
當然啦，要拒絕飲酒同埋咧係戒煙，包括咧係二手煙。
Also, you have to be careful of the sun.
當然亦都係小心陽光啦。
Use a hat if you have to go to the sun. Do daily exercise, control your weight, and go for periodic tests.
嗱，記住喎，如果你要去戶外嘅地方，最好戴一頂帽啦。每一日咧，保持呢個運動嘅習慣，控制體重同埋定期咧要做呢個身體檢查。
Be careful of some types of diets for weight control.
嗱，特別咧，如果你哋要減肥嘅話咧，小心某一啲嘅減肥嘅飲食方式。
That may help you to lose weight,
嗱，佢可能幫到你可以減低體重，
but may help the body to produce cancer.
但係可能會促進你身體咧係產生呢個癌症。
For the prevention of colon cancer or intestinal cancer, you have to learn how to choose the right food.
要預防腸癌或者結腸癌，我哋一定要學識點樣去選擇食物。
For instance, these foods here, they look like an intestine. They look like the colon part of the intestine, but they don't have anything in terms of prevention of intestinal cancer.
嗱，呢一啲香腸睇落去好似我哋嗰啲腸，但係佢對我哋嘅腸完全係一啲好處都冇。
In fact, if you eat too much meat and sausages like that, you will increase your risk of colon cancer.
你如果食得太多肉類同埋香腸類嘅食物，就會增加咗患腸癌嘅機會啦。
So we advise you to use less meat, any meat, and especially this type of meat, pork meat, is not good.
咁我就唔建議大家咧係食太多嘅肉類，特別好似呢啲新鮮嘅肉或者腸咁樣啦。
On the other hand, the best food to prevent colon cancer is fruits and vegetables.
要預防結腸癌，最好就係多食蔬菜同埋水果。
You should eat at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day.
每日起碼要食到5份嘅蔬果。
Then you have enough fiber to prevent colon cancer.
然後你就會有足夠嘅纖維質去預防結腸癌。
Have you eaten your veggies today?
今日你食咗未啊？
Like the Atkins diet is, I put Atkins Cancer Revolution because it might increase the risk of cancer.
嗱，呢度咧講到咧係一個食肉嘅減肥方法，我咧就為佢命名咧成為一個咩啊癌嘅革命，因為如果當你用呢一種咁嘅飲食方式，可能會增加咗你患癌嘅機會。
Because this diet is all contrary to what we mentioned in the prevention of breast and colon cancer.
因為就喺我哋頭先所講預防呢一個乳癌啦，同埋呢一個結腸癌咧嘅飲食方式係完全相反嘅。
For cancer and heart disease, it's not a good idea to eat a high-fat diet and low-fiber diet.
因為要預防心臟病同埋預防癌症，一定唔可以咧係食多肉同埋高脂肪嘅食物。
So now let's change the topic to heart disease.
跟住咧，我哋就講下心臟病啦。
The first factor is also diet.
第一個咧要素都係飲食，
And the other is exercise.
其次就係運動，
And one important factor is stress control.
而一個重要嘅咧就係壓力控制啦。
Mostly for women, they have to control the activities that they have in order to prevent this disease.
因為咧佢哋尤其是係女士咧，佢哋要睇下自己有啲乜嘢嘅活動，日常生活嘅活動咧，去預防呢一個疾病嘅。
It's interesting that heart disease is less frequent in females before 50 years old.
咁而佢哋發現咧，50歲 未夠50歲嘅女士咧，佢哋患心臟病嘅機會率係比男士低。
Somehow, when they have the periods, they have a protection against heart disease.
因為當佢哋仲有月經嚟嘅時候咧，佢哋對於心臟病都係有一種嘅保護。
But don't forget, after the 50 years old, the incidence of heart disease is almost the same as in men.
嗱，唔好忘記啊，當佢停經之後咧，佢哋心臟病嘅機會率係同男士係一樣噶啦。
And I believe these three factors are very important and may be the best way to treat or prevent heart disease.
所以我相信呢3個方式係一個非常之重要去預防呢個心臟病。
Diabetes is another disease very common among women.
而女士咧亦都係咧常患呢個糖尿病。
In Hong Kong only, we have 10% of diabetics, about 600,000 diabetics.
就喺香港咧已經有超過1/10嘅人係患上糖尿病，大概咧係超過60萬嘅人。
1/3 of women over 65 years old have diabetes.
而65歲以上嘅女士咧，佢哋發現係1/3嘅人咧係患上糖尿病。
And 1/2 women have metabolic syndrome over 65 years old.
而超過65歲嘅女士，佢哋發現咧2個裡面就有1個咧係患上代謝症候群。
The diet for diabetes is the same that we proposed before, low fat and high fiber.
而俾糖尿病嘅飲食建議同之前咧所講嘅係一樣，都係咧高纖維同埋低脂肪。
Nuts are good, but not more than 1 handful per day.
果仁係唔錯嘅，但係咧佢唔可以食得太多。
Another type of food is beans.
另外咧就係咧豆類嘅食物啦。
I advise for my diabetic patients to eat at least 1 cup of bean per day.
我會建議我哋嘅糖尿病嘅病人咧係每一日食1杯嘅豆。
Any types of beans, soybeans, black beans, chickpeas, peas, kidney beans, and lentils.
嗱，任何一啲嘅豆，例如係黃豆啊、黑豆啊、雞心豆啊、腰豆啊、蘭豆啊等等。
It is very important also to avoid sugar, sweets, refined foods like white rice and white bread, and to fruits that are too sweet.
嗱，當然要避免糖果啦、甜品啦，同埋一啲精製咗嘅食物，包括係一啲白米飯啦，係咪啊？白麵粉啊等等，同埋啲太甜嘅水果。
There are some good news, like guava is a very good fruit for diabetes.
嗱，當然有啲好消息嘅，例如咧，好似番石榴咧，原來對糖尿病咧係好好嘅噃。
In this study done with rats, they found out that giving guava to the rats decreased the blood glucose similarly to a diabetes drug.
而喺呢個老鼠嘅研究裏面咧，佢哋發現，當佢餵飼呢個石榴啦，同埋咧同一啲嘅餵飼一啲降糖嘅藥咧，佢哋相去比較嘅時候，發現呢個效果係差唔多。
So this I consider to be the best fruit for diabetics.
所以我就話咧，番石榴咧係對糖尿病最好嘅一種嘅水果啦。
Another common disease among old women is menopause.
嗱，而喺比較年長嘅女士咧，常見嘅就有更年期啦。
The main symptoms of menopause are menstrual periods that stop, hot flashes, dry skin, headaches, insomnia, depression, and anxiety.
而佢嘅症狀包括有停經啦、潮熱啦、皮膚乾燥、頭痛、失眠、抑鬱同埋焦慮等。
So what should we do for women in this phase?
嗱，喺呢個期間，女士應該做啲乜嘢呢？
Usually, they used to take hormones to overcome the symptoms in this age or in this phase.
嗱，好多時候喺呢一個咁樣嘅情況咧，佢哋就會用呢一個荷爾蒙啦。
However, the latest studies show that it's not good to take the female hormone because it increases the risk of cancer and even heart disease.
咁但係最近嘅研究就發現，如果咧係用呢個荷爾蒙咧，就會增加患癌症同埋心臟病嘅機會。
Then it is better to overcome the symptoms using natural things or not hormones at all.
咁所以咧，我哋就建議咧係用一啲天然嘅 一啲嘅香草啊嚇，咁咧就唔係用荷爾蒙。
So for hot flashes, what we advise is called black cohosh, soybeans and flaxseed.
嗱，如果當你發現咧有潮熱嘅情況咧，你可以嘗試下食用呢一個黑星麻啦、大豆啦，同埋咧呢個亞麻籽。
For emotional symptoms, we advise some calmant herbals, counseling and stress control.
而喺情緒嘅症狀方面，你可以用一啲草本嘅植物啦，輔導。
It is important for the women in this phase to use a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, to avoid junk food and to do a lot of exercise.
而喺呢個階段，我哋會建議女士咧係多食蔬果，多食五穀類嘅食物，避免食一啲唔健康嘅垃圾食物，同埋多做運動。
Osteoporosis was the main reason that people use hormones in the menopause.
嗱，好多時候去到更年期咧，好多嘅女士佢哋驚患上骨質疏鬆，於是咧就會用呢一個荷爾蒙。
But we know that the main factor to prevent osteoporosis is exercise.
但係我哋相信最好嘅預防骨質疏鬆嘅方法就係運動。
The best exercise is running or lifting some weights.
嗱，最好嘅咧就係跑步啦，同埋咧做一啲比較輕嘅舉重。
You have to do an exercise that the bones need to feel a need to become stronger.
嗱，當然嗰種嘅運動係需要咧，俾嗰個骨骼感覺得到咧，你係需要咧一個強壯嘅骨嘅。
For the prevention of osteoporosis, we advise you to walk carrying weights like that.
要預防骨質疏鬆，我建議大家做運動嘅時候，可以好似我咁樣拎住啲重量。
Also, we advise to carry some backpacks.
或者你可以孭住個背囊。
This will increase the gravity and then you will walk and strengthen your bones a little more.
咁樣咧係會增加啲重量，使至骨頭更加係強壯。
Remember the African ladies, they carry some bags in their heads?
記唔記得咧？非洲嘅人佢哋會將一啲重量嘅嘢擺喺個頭上面。
And they don't have osteoporosis at all.
佢哋完全冇骨質疏鬆症嘅問題。
The best thing to get strong bones is exercise.
如果你想有強壯嘅骨頭，最好嘅方法就係做運動。
Osteoporosis is also the main reason for people to take female hormones.
嗱，骨質疏鬆咧就係佢哋好關注嘅呢個女士關注嘅問題。佢哋咧就係要食荷爾蒙。
Osteoporosis was the main reason in the past for doctors to prescribe female hormones.
而喺以往咧，呢個醫生佢哋開嘅荷爾蒙藥咧，最主要係咧要預防骨質疏鬆症。
However, the main factor to prevent osteoporosis is exercise.
但係最好預防骨質疏鬆嘅方法就係運動。
The type of exercise is important. Running, weightlifting, or carrying weights is the best one.
嗱，最好嘅運動就係咧能夠負重嘅，例如係跑步啊、舉重啊、一啲健身嘅運動等。
Because the bones need to feel a need to become stronger.
一定要俾個骨骼咧係感受得到咧，佢係需要承受一啲嘅壓力，所以佢哋係需要強壯一啲。
And definitely, alcohol, smoking, coffee, and salt are very bad for the bones.
而飲酒啊、食煙啊、咖啡因同埋鹽咧，都係對呢個骨骼係唔好嘅。
Another important factor for the bones is sunshine.
而陽光亦都係能夠令到骨骼係強壯嘅一個好重要因素。
If you live in a place that you don't have much sunshine, you better look for vitamin D foods.
嗱，如果你住嘅地方係冇乜陽光嘅話咧，可能你要多食一啲含維他命 D 嘅食物。
But if you have sun, you just be aware of the risk of skin cancer that is in the face.
嗱，但係如果你住喺一啲陽光充沛嘅地方，你只係咧需要咧小心啊，特別係咧嗰個特別容易患上皮膚癌嘅地方。
The best diet for osteoporosis prevention is related to calcium foods.
要預防骨質疏鬆症，就要留意咧喺飲食裡面有足夠嘅鈣質。
If you prefer to use milk and dairy, it should be non-fat type of milk and dairy.
嗱，如果你係 中意飲奶，咁咧我就會建議你係用一啲脫脂嘅產品。
Remember that dark green leaves also contains a lot of calcium.
記住喎，深綠色嘅蔬菜都係含有好豐富嘅鈣質㗎。
Such as collards, kale, spinach, and turnips.
呢個包括咧係呢個金蘭菜啦、芥蘭菜啦、菠菜。
Other calcium-rich foods are dry figs, amaranth grain, carob, flour, tofu, soybeans, and sesame seed.
嗱，呢一度咧係包括一啲其他嘅食物咧係有無花果乾啦、呢一個莧菜根啦、角豆粉、豆腐、大豆同埋芝麻。
Look for the labels when you buy food in the supermarket and look for calcium-fortified foods.
嗱，當你去到超市買嘢嘅時候咧，睇一睇咧佢嗰個標籤，最好咧係能夠買一啲加咗鈣嘅食物。
Another problem among women, very common, is overweight.
嗱，另外女士咧常出現嘅問題咧就係通常係超重啦。
Most women are concerned about their weight.
而大部分嘅女士都好關注自己嘅體重嘅喎。
Is there a secret for weight control?
究竟體重控制有冇秘訣嘅咧？
In fact, there is a need for change of habits, not to go for the diets.
我哋要關注嘅係一個習慣嘅問題，而唔係一個飲食嘅問題咁簡單。
Let's take a look on this study done among monkeys and see the results of weight control.
或者我哋睇下呢一個研究咧，係用馬騮去做嘅關於體重嘅研究。
The study conducted by the American Journal of Physiology separate two groups of monkeys.
呢個咧係一個美國嘅研究，佢哋用兩組嘅馬騮去做實驗。
One group was the active monkeys. They have a diet of about 35% fat, a normal Western diet.
咁咧呢一組咧就係一啲好活躍嘅馬騮嚟嘅。咁佢哋嘅飲食方式咧就係同西方嘅飲食方式冇乜分別，脂肪大概都係佔35%。
But those are monkeys that they were active. They were climbing the trees. They were going around all the time. They didn't stop.
而呢一班馬騮係停唔到落嚟嘅喎，因為佢哋時時都不斷咁樣爬嚟爬去啦，同埋咧爬上樹。
The other group were a group of monkeys that were very sedentary.
而另外一組嘅馬騮咧，佢哋就係唔係點樣喐噶啦。
They just sit around and they eat the same diet, 35% Western diet.
而佢哋咧，淨係成日都坐喺度喎，但係佢哋嘅飲食嘅方式咧，就同頭先嗰組冇乜分別，都係35% 嘅脂肪。
So the active monkeys remain very thin, regardless of how much they ate.
嗱，而嗰班活躍嘅咧，佢哋發現無論佢食幾多都好啦，佢哋嘅體重咧，仍然係能夠保持咧。
The monkeys that were sedentary, even though they cut the diet, but they put on weight.
而嗰啲唔係好喐嘅馬騮仔，佢發現就算佢哋咧稍為減少佢哋食嘢嘅量啊，佢依然咧體重都係增加。
As you see in this study, the determining factor was exercise.
嗱，所以你可以睇到啦，喺呢個研究裏面咧，最重要嘅咧係運動。
Sorry, Dr. Santos, many will say. This is valid only for monkeys, not for humans.
但有啲人可能會話：唔好意思喎，山道士醫生，呢個只係喺馬騮嘅身上先適用啫，唔係喺人。
Well, at least the monkeys are female monkeys.
嗱，但係唔好忘記啊，我哋用嚟做研究嘅咧，嗰啲馬騮咧，起碼佢哋都係女性馬騮先。
But at least the study was done among female monkeys.
嗱，但係最低限度呢個研究都係用咗一啲雌性嘅馬騮嚟做。
As you know, many of those studies started with animal, but they can be replicated among human beings.
嗱，好多時候研究咧都係由動物開始，但係咧佢哋咧發現咧喺人類嘅身上咧仍然係適用嘅。
So we concluded that the most important factor for weight control is daily exercise.
所以我哋相信呢個體重控制嘅秘訣就係咧每一日裡面都需要有運動。
The next exercise is to strengthen the muscle of the back that we call hamstrings.
跟住落嚟咧，我哋要強化嘅肌肉咧就係大腿後邊嘅肌肉，我哋都係咧叫做呢一個膕繩肌。
You just put some weights in your ankles and lift the leg backwards.
我哋將咧重量綁喺我哋嘅腳眼位置，然後咧將腳向後提升。
Then you can do that 8 times for each leg.
由每一隻腳咧可以做8次。
These exercises are good for people that have knee pain too.
嗱，如果你係有膝頭哥痛嘅咧，呢個咁嘅運動就啱啦。
Now let's talk about an issue for young women.
嗱，我哋又睇下咧呢個年輕嘅女士一啲嘅問題啊。
PMS or premenstrual syndrome.
經前嘅綜合症。
So for that, we believe that diet is very important.
我哋相信咧飲食係非常重要。
And what we advise in terms of diet, first is to avoid junk food.
首先喺飲食方面，我哋會建議大家咧係避免食一啲垃圾性嘅食物，
like sugar, fried foods, coffee, ice cream, etc.
例如咧係糖啊、煎炸嘢啊、咖啡啊，同埋咧雪糕啊等等。
And then eat more complex carbohydrates, but those that are not refined.
嗱，多啲食咧係碳水化合物，一啲係複合性嘅、未經精製嘅碳水化合物，
like whole grains, potatoes, bread, etc.
例如係全麥五穀類啦、薯仔啦，同埋啲全麥五穀嘅包等等。
It's important for the women in this premenstrual syndrome to avoid dairy foods, to not smoking and not drinking, to exercise daily and control their stress.
嗱，最重要咧就係要最好避免咧呢個奶類嘅飲品啦，同埋咧唔食煙啦、唔飲酒啦，每日咧保持足夠嘅運動，同埋咧減輕佢自己喺日常生活裡面所遇到嘅壓力。
Another common problem among women is urinary infections.
嗱，另外一個咧女士常患嘅咧就係尿道炎啦。
So we advise women to drink a lot of water and cranberry juice and also echinacea.
嗱，我哋會建議女士係多飲水啦，一啲嘅月骨嘅汁啦，同埋咧紫球菊。
Hygiene is important before and after intercourse.
呢個衛生咧都係非常重要嘅，特別係行房前後嘅時候。
Also, if women have high risk or frequent urinary infections, it's important to check the husband too.
嗱，如果你常常咧喺呢個行房之後咧，你都發現咧係會有患上呢一個尿道炎咧，可能都要 check 你自己嘅丈夫啦。
Two more things is urination after the intercourse and a hot seat bath.
咁而唔好忘記咧喺行房之後要去小便喎，同埋咧可以試下一啲咧我哋叫做熱嘅坐浴。
Cranberry juice or cranberry fruits block the bacteria to be attached to the wall of the bladder.
嗱，呢個紅莓汁咧其實係有幫助我哋咧嗰啲嘅細菌咧黐喺我哋嘅膀胱嗰度。
So another problem is insomnia.
其次就係失眠嘅問題。
So what we advise for insomnia is avoid eating too much at night.
首先我哋就係唔好喺晚上食得太多份量。
Avoid caffeine like coffee, tea, and chocolate at night.
喺晚上最好唔好飲咖啡、茶同埋咧食朱古力。
And also avoid too much excitement at night.
嗱，而夜晚嘅時候咧，都唔好太過刺激啦，太過緊張。
Do exercise every day.
每日都做運動。
It is important for women to practice some relaxing activities at night.
呢個咧係我哋可以試下喺晚上嘅時候做一啲鬆弛類型嘅活動。
Like massage, warm baths, jacuzzi, and sauna.
你可以做下呢個按摩啦、暖水浴啦、浸浴啦，甚至咧係一啲桑拿添。
Some herbs also help to induce the sleep.
嗱，有啲嘅草本嘅植物係可以幫助我哋咧容易進入睡眠嘅狀態。
So we advise to try some of those, like melatonin, valerian, lemongrass, catnip, hop.
呢度咧可以睇到啦，你可以試下一啲褪黑激素啊、結草啊、香茅啊，同埋呢個樟腦草等等。
Lemongrass is used in most of the soups or seasoning in Asia.
喺亞洲嚟講咧，香茅通常咧就係用嚟做調味料或者咧係煮湯。
But in my country, Brazil, they use helma as a tea.
而喺我嘅老家巴西嘅地方，佢哋會用香茅咧嚟沖茶嘅。
And I will teach you later how to make this tea.
遲啲我會教大家點樣去做呢個香茅茶。
Now we are going to teach you how to prepare lemongrass tea.
跟住落嚟，我教大家整香茅茶。
So we told you that lemongrass is very good to relax and for people that have insomnia.
嗱，我頭先都講過啦，原來咧呢個香茅咧係能夠幫助我哋鬆弛，同埋咧特別對失眠咧係好好嘅。
And we know that people in Asia, they use lemongrass mostly for seasoning, but we can make a very flavoring tea with that.
嗱，雖然亞洲人咧中意落嚟做調味料，但係咧原來佢可以要嚟沖茶嘅喎。
And this is the way that I like to make this kind of tea.
呢個就係咧我要做香茅茶嘅方法。
So you cut the helma and put in this device and try to break it.
嗱，首先你咧將啲香茅咧切細細啦，跟住咧就可以咧將佢研爛佢。
So when is very broken the helma, you can even smell. Oh, it smells very good.
嗱，當你咧係篤到咁爛嘅時候咧，你再聞下咧，哇！你發覺咧就係好香嘅香茅味。
Then you put in a cup.
跟住擺落去個杯裏邊。
And then you pour hot water on that.
跟住你將熱水加落去，哇！
And then normally you should cover that for about 10 minutes.
跟住你冚住個蓋，大概10分鐘到。
Even now, before you see that the color of the water is already a little bit green, showing that there is some extract of the helma that is already in the water.
嗱，你會見到啲水已經變咗少少色，即係話咧香茅啲精華已經出咗嚟。
Another topic is depression.
另外一個題目咧就係呢個抑鬱症。
It's important for women to do exercise outdoor and take a lot of sunshine in order to prevent depression.
對女性嚟講，做一個喺戶外嘅地方，能夠接觸到陽光嘅地方做運動係非常之重要。
A balanced diet also is very important.
均衡嘅飲食亦都重要啦。
And then the support. Women need to have a good support from the family, from friends, and from other women mostly.
而佢嘅支持網絡亦都係非常重要，家庭無論係家庭啦、朋友啦，甚至係其他女士能夠咧做到嘅一啲支持網絡。
Some herbals are good for depression, mostly one that we call St. John's wort.
嗱，咁而呢個其中一啲嘅草本嘅植物，佢哋咧叫做聖莊嘅一個草係非常好㗎。
It is important to develop a good lifestyle.
要有一個生活模式，一個好嘅生活模式。
As you saw in the prevention of all the problems among women, we always keep saying the same thing.
無論係任何嘅疾病，我哋咧似乎重複又重複都係嗰啲方法。
So the prevention is a simple thing. Diet, exercise, avoid toxins like smoking, control weight, do some sunshine.
嗱，預防嘅方法都好簡單，都係要留意飲食，有恆常嘅運動，唔好食煙，控制體重，同埋咧係能夠有機會接觸陽光。
In terms of support system, women need to have a very good support from family members, the husband and the children.
首先講到婦女嘅支持系統咧，原來喺家庭裏面，特別係咧丈夫啊同埋仔女嘅支持咧係非常重要嘅。
They need to have some psychological or some emotional support.
佢哋需要一啲心理上、情緒上嘅支持。
Someone that they can talk, someone that they can open when they have some crisis in life.
而當佢遇到任何衝擊嘅時候，佢可以咧去同佢傾訴嘅一個對象。
It's also important for women to associate with a group, with a support group.
而女士咧能夠同一啲嘅小組或者係參與一啲支援小組咧，亦都係非常重要。
And this could be a women's group, can be a church, can be a community group.
可能係啲婦女嘅組織啦、教會啦或者社區嘅團體。
One special thing for women is that they need to find some time for themselves.
嗱，其中一個忠告俾呢個女士嘅咧，就係佢哋自己需要俾翻啲時間自己嘅喎。
Normally, women work for others, for the husband, for the kids, for the family.
因為好多時婦女都係為咗自己嘅丈夫、為咗自己嘅仔女、為咗自己嘅家庭。
So they have to find a time for things that they enjoy, like music, sports, reading, learning a new thing, whatever activity that they enjoy.
而佢哋需要撥出啲時間，係能夠參與一啲嘅活動，例如係聽下音樂啊、做下運動啊、睇下書啊，或者學一啲新嘅事物。
And especially for women that are with depression problems, helping others might be a good thing to do, like charity, nursing homes, visiting hospital, etc.
但係如果特別係一啲女士佢有抑鬱嘅情況咧，最好咧可以能夠咧去幫助其他人，特別去一啲幫助慈善團體啊、去老人院啊、探訪老人院嘅老人家啊，甚至咧係去醫院探訪啊等。
Now a message for the husbands.
呢度咧有啲俾丈夫嘅一啲嘅建議。
It's important for the men to provide enough support for the woman.
嗱，原來咧丈夫俾佢嘅妻子嘅支持咧係非常重要嘅喎。
And when I talk about support, it's not just financial support.
我講嘅支持唔係淨係經濟上嘅支持。
It's a help in the activities in the home.
我係講緊喺家庭裏面佢能夠可以付出嘅幫忙。
Is an emotional support when the women have some problems, some emotional problems.
嗱，當女士有情緒上嘅問題，佢亦都係可以咧係安撫一下。
Is just be there for her sometimes.
嗱，可能只係陪伴喺呢個女士嘅旁邊咧，已經係好重要啦。
Remember that the spouse abuse is not only physical.
嗱，記住啊，呢一個嘅配偶嘅虐待咧，有時候唔單止係肉體上。
Ignoring the needs, ignoring the emotional needs of a wife might be also spouse abuse.
忽視咗你嘅妻子嘅需要，可能呢個都係另一類咧虐妻。
Another component and the last component of women's health is the spirituality.
而最後一個咧就係關於咧靈性嘅健康。
I believe that women survive more than men because they are more open to spirituality in their lives.
我相信咧，女士比男士係更長壽咧，係因為咧佢哋對於呢個屬靈咧係更加係開放。
Spirituality is also important to prevent divorce among marriage people.
而佢哋發現屬靈係好重要嘅喎，有幫助咧係減低咧離婚啊。
According to the preacher Billy Graham, 50% of the marriages end up in divorce among even Christians.
而喺呢個葛培理咧，佢曾經咧做過一個咁嘅調查，佢哋咧發現咧，就算喺基督徒嘅夫婦裏面咧，都有一半咧係離婚收場。
But if the Christian couple have daily prayer, Bible reading and devotion together every day, the rate of divorce in this family is just 1%.
但係佢哋發現呢啲夫婦如果能夠每一日都一齊祈禱、讀聖經同埋參與聚會，呢啲佢哋嘅離婚率咧只係1% 啫。
So it pays off to spend more time in the family for spiritual issues.
所以其實係好值得咧，係俾一啲時間嘅屋企人 大家一齊咧去建立一下呢個屬靈嘅生命。
So now let's take a look on some Bible verses that illustrate the importance of women in the house.
嗱，我哋睇一睇聖經裏面又有啲咩嘅教導啊？
Now let's take a look at some Bible verses that talk about the women, the importance of women.
我哋睇下聖經裏面講到女士有幾重要。
Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. In Proverbs 31:10.
箴言31章第10節佢咁講：智慧嘅妻子喺邊度揾呢？佢嘅價值係遠超過珠寶。
As I mentioned in the beginning, women is the most important person in the home.
正如我一開始所講，原來女士喺家庭裏面係非常之重要嘅角色。
The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. Proverbs 31:11.
聖經繼續咁講，佢話佢嘅丈夫信賴佢，絕對咧係唔至於窮困。
Even though we mentioned that women spend too much money shopping, most of the women, they know how to manage the finances at home.
嚟好多時候我哋會話女士成日都識使錢，但係咧奇怪地就係佢哋都識得理財喎。
She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy.
佢樂意周濟困苦嘅人，伸手去救助貧乏嘅人。
The woman's heart is open to help. The woman's heart is full of compassion for her children and for the needy.
而呢個女士佢係充滿咗憐憫嘅心，隨時預備好去幫助屋企同埋外面有需要嘅人。
She opens her mouth with wisdom, and of her tongue is the law of kindness.
當佢開口嘅時候，佢會表現出智慧，講話就會顯示仁慈。
So women are full of wisdom and kindness to the family again.
所以婦女對於家庭嚟講，真係充滿智慧同埋仁慈嘅。
She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness.
佢辛勤咁處理家務，唔會咧係食懶飯嘅。
So women have the responsibility, and sometimes they take care of the house, they take care of the kids, and they even work outside of the home.
佢哋係好有責任感嘅人，因為佢會照顧家庭、照顧小朋友，而且佢仲要咧係出外工作。
Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her.
佢嘅兒女敬愛佢，佢嘅丈夫亦都稱讚佢。
This is very important for women to have the feeling that she is praised, that she is appraised properly.
而對於女士嚟講，一定要咧係感覺到係被人敬愛同埋受讚賞。
And this is also important for us, husbands, and for us children, to recognize that our mothers and our wives are important, and they are the most important part in our lives.
而作為丈夫同埋兒女嘅，我哋都需要知道，我哋嘅媽媽或者係我哋嘅妻子，佢哋係好值得我哋嘅讚賞。
Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised.
嬌豔係靠唔住，美容亦都係虛幻嘅，只有敬畏上主嘅女士係應該受到讚揚。
And the last message for women is that the outside is not that important as it is the heart.
而最後俾女士嘅一個嘅建議就係，原來外表係會改變，最重要就係內心。
Many times women feel sad and depressive in life.
有時候咧，女士會喺生活上覺得唔開心同埋有憂鬱。
And they see themselves as this picture.
佢哋睇自己就好似呢一幅嘅圖片一樣。
And many people see themselves as this picture.
好多人睇自己都好似呢幅圖片咁嘅。
Remember, the outside part is not important, but the inside part.
記住，外表係唔重要，最重要係我哋嘅內心。
But the important thing is that in God's sight, He sees women in a different way.
最重要嘅就係話神睇我哋係用另一類嘅睇法。
This is how God sees you.
原來神睇你就係咁㗎。
No matter how you feel, no matter how you look like,
無論你感覺係點樣樣，無論你嘅外表係點樣樣，
God sees you always like that.
神睇你永遠都係咁。
So next time you feel depressed, like next time you feel sad, think about God. Go with God.
所以下一次當你唔開心，當你覺得憂鬱嘅時候，諗下神，去神嘅身邊，
And then you will find the genuine happiness.
跟住你就會揾到真正嘅快樂。
爱无边，这些我从小全都知道。他作为奇妙，他能力无穷，我不能够带衷心地佩服。他是恩拯救，他竭尽罪孽。我虚荣一切，却无缺少。他安慰忧愁，他聆听祷告。为什么还是没有满足平安？是否也包括我？是否也包括我？若那一天我发现你不再出现眼前，你丰富的恩典只像一尘一般，我到底喜欢你的出现，还是看重你恩典？真能说不知道。我需要祷告，我需要改变。原来我也是法利赛人，求你可怜我，这是我祷告。有伤痛会的灵，你必不轻看。主啊，也包括我，主啊，也包括我。我知道在你面前，我的爱不够完全，你丰富的恩典总是把我缠绕。每一个来到你面前的罪人，你也爱到底。主啊，也包括我。我知道在你面前，我的爱不够完全，你丰富的恩典总是把我